Yusuf Estes, and I'm looking for something. Actually, I'm looking for someone. Is that someone you? I want Dawah partners, and you can be my Dawah partner right now. It's real easy. Just go to dawahpartners.com, sign up, and join me. There are 3 things that I would like for you to be able to do. Any one of them or all of them. Beautiful. Number 1, you will make dua. So you can be our Dawah partner, even if you don't go to the website, but I hope you do. Number 2, share. Share this message and let other people know about becoming Dawah partners. And number 3, help us financially. Donate on a monthly basis, even if it's small. Allah loves the thing that you do regularly, even if it's small, more than the thing that you do that's really big, but you only do it once. Join me as a Dawah partner. Do it now. Click, 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 click.
A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way.
And Dawah Partners is the way to go. You can be a partner with us and get the reward along with us. DawahPartners.com. Dawah Partners, DawahParters.com. DawahPartners.com. And we are coming to you live, or almost live, all the way from not in our studios tonight. We're scattered all over the place. We're in Yuma, Arizona with Sister Kim. Sister Kim, salam alaikum. How are you tonight?
Wa alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah. Very hot. We're having a heat wave.
You're having a heat wave. Don't break out into song, okay, sister?
All right.
And let's see. I think we have... yeah, look who it is. All the way from up in the northern part of the United States in Michigan. Ann Arbor, Michigan. There we are. There's Richard. Salam alaikum, Richard.
Alaikum salam. Walaikum salam. We're doing well here in Michigan. We're in the midst of a heat wave. It got all the way up to 80 today. Not quite as hot as I'm sitting here in my room, and I have a little blanket just around my legs just to stay warm. So, but I know I'll hear about it in January and February when I'm up here shoveling ice and snow and freezing. So I gotta do some time today. So. Alhamdulillah, we were all good. We went to a doctor's appointment today about the infection I was having, and it looks like it's turning around and healing well. Alhamdulillah, we're so grateful for that, and feeling much, much better. So all is good. All is good. And tomorrow, woo!
What is tomorrow?
Juma Day.
Oh, you like Juma?
Day of the week.
You love Juma. Just. Maybe even more than I do, mashallah.
Well, we've got an imam out here he's a Baptist preacher at heart, I think. But he gives great khutbahs, and I always enjoy listening to what he has to say. And I accuse him sometimes of maybe taking some Baptist training in having to preach, because he gets into it.
Maybe he's taking the Baptist holy water.
I don't know, but he gets a little fired up, and which is good. I love the man. an amazing, amazing imam and a scholar and a kind man who's guided me for the last 3 years since becoming a Muslim.
Oh, mashallah, mashallah. Well, I think we should find out what's going on there with you, Sister Kim. What's happening over there?
Well, over here, like I said, we're having a heat wave. Yesterday we got up to 118 degrees before the heat index.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Was that inside or outside of the pizza oven?
Oh, that was on both sides of the pizza oven.
Ooh, hey.
Didn't need the pizza oven.
You didn't need a pizza oven, did you?
I'm sorry?
You didn't need a pizza oven, did you?
No, didn't need a pizza oven. If I wanted to, I could have cracked an egg on the sidewalk and had eggs.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
We're a
Well,
little cooler today, alhamdulillah. We still hit 118 with the heat index, but the actual temperature was only about 110. So, not as bad as it was yesterday.
all right. Well, at least you don't have trouble keeping warm.
No, I have
You
no
don't need a
trouble
blanket?
keeping. No, I don't need a blanket, thank you.
Do you have ice cream shops there in Yuma? Like the outdoor kind of, frosty freezes and those kind of things?
We have a couple.
And I'm just like, by the time you got it out the window and you put it in your hand, it would be on the sidewalk. And totally.
That's why we've only got a couple. And they've got indoor seating with air conditioning.
Oh, I would bet.
Well, let me ask you this. When I was a kid, I was about 16 years old, and I had my first real business, which was ice cream truck. I had an ice cream truck, yeah, and I wasn't old enough to drive it, so I got my girlfriend's mother to drive it, and that's what we used to do, go up and down the streets and sell ice cream. But I'm wondering, do they have that there in Yuma, Arizona, or is it too hot for that to work?
It's too hot for that to work. We do have an ice cream truck that comes around our neighborhood, but they only operate in the wintertime.
Oh, ice cream in the winter. Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah, we have ice cream trucks in the summer, in the spring, in the fall. So,
Yeah, he'll probably start going out again in October.
wow.
October, all right. Well, that'll be all right. Listen, I think we should probably get on with our subject to talk about it tonight. And folks, if you haven't figured it out already, we're three that are sitting right here waiting for your phone call to call in and talk about whatever you want to talk about. All right? That's why it's called Talk About It. All right? And you can call. There's a 1-800 number, 1-800-971-4383. 1-800-971-4383. Call us up with your topic, and then we'll talk about it, inshallah ta'ala. Sister, I wanted to ask you, since the last time we were on the air together, I think it was Sunday, right? Or
Right.
Was it Saturday?
Sunday.
Sunday. All right. And we mentioned a couple of issues, and I don't know if you really feel satisfied that we finished them up, or if you wanted to pick up where we left off, or...
I don't remember what we were talking about. If you could give me a quick rundown, then I could answer your question.
All right. Well, the thing that I think is pretty clear for everybody right now is whether or not we need to change Islam or change ourselves. You do recall talking about that?
Yes, I do remember we talked about that. And that would be a good one. Since we've got Richard with us, I'd like to hear Richard's interpretation of that as well.
All right. Well, I think, let me see if I can put that up on the screen. I don't remember where I put it. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. So we were saying that that there are some folks who recently have been talking about changing Islam, and what they were saying is that Islam came 1400 years ago. All right? And since then, we've had so many modern updates to all of the things that we have. About 150 years ago, it started changing drastically, because people had already gotten by for centuries upon centuries riding animals and going to and from at a very slow pace. But about 150 years ago, when we came out with electricity, then telegraph, and then some of the other things, and it all started to change. And then about 100 years ago, we started having cars started showing up everywhere, and then roads, and then cars and roads, and roads and cars, and then computers came along, and then the internet, and then cell phones, and now today, you don't need to get on your camel and ride for days and days to get to a library and go in there and find the old scrolls and roll them out and to find out just one thing. Today, you've got a whole world of things, and literally a world of things at your fingertips. Just type in on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, or just ask Alexa. Alexa, how long does it take for me to la 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 la? And Alexa is gonna tell you, or Siri, yeah, Siri, what time is it? You know, so all of those things definitely have shown an improvement over all of the things that we thought were modern 150 years ago, and that is evident everywhere you go. No matter where you go on the planet, you're going to see upgrades, even in the remotest jungles of Africa and to the most remote places on the earth, even up by, when I was in Tromsø, Norway. Now, 150 years ago, if you were in Tromsø, Norway, you would be frozen to death right now. Yeah, even in the summer. Maybe not in the summer, because they do have a lot of daylight up here. That sun doesn't go down. But if you think about this, right now, anywhere you go, you have access to communication. You have access to electricity. You have access to so many things and English. Oh my God. Almost everywhere I went, somebody at least knew a little bit of English, enough to get by it, to communicate. So I can understand why a non-Muslim would think that, well, all religion has to be updated. And some people even leave religion altogether because they say, hey, this thing is so bizarre, it doesn't even work anymore. Okay, and I get that. However, Islam is coming from the creator and sustainer of the universe. So therefore, and we know that he already knows everything. He knew what we were going to do before he created us. He knew exactly when the last day would be. And we don't. And he knew from the start exactly what would happen. And when he sent down the Quran, the recitation, I like to translate that so people know it means recitation. When he sent down the recitation, he knew full well that he was going to preserve it, because he mentioned that in the recitation, that he would preserve it, and he did. And it is still being recited today, word for word, as it was recited 1400 years ago. And make no mistake about this, it is called the recitation. It's not called the book. It refers in the recitation to the kitab, or book, or biblia, or now you got it, Bible. It talks about it in the recitation, and it mentions some of the people who altered it. But the last revelation, he said, it's nobody going to alter it. Nobody's going to touch that until he pulls it up, and it's not here anymore, and it will not be in the minds or hearts of the people. But anyway, now let's come back to the subject. Should people be thinking about changing Islam? And this is why we said, no, change us, not Islam. Then if you care, share. So that's the basis of what we were talking about on Sunday. And I would like really seriously, Richard, if you think about this, what would be your take on what we just talked about?
Wow, I'm having evangelical Christian flashbacks here. Yeah, we've watched the churches change, and change drastically from the way people come to the services, when the services are, what's contained in the service. We've added, not we, well, when I was there, you had video screens, you had special lighting effects, you had a fog machine, you had the preacher coming out in blue jeans.
Wait a minute, are you describing a church or a bar?
No, it's a church. Yeah, churches have lights and fog machines and lights that, kind of go in all the different directions and kind of dance to the music. And instead of a piano or an organ playing music, you've got a rock and roll band, a bunch of young kids, and singing a bunch of songs that nobody can sing. You've got people doing, it's just casual. Come as you are, t-shirt, tank top, whatever you have. Stop at the snack bar in the lobby. pick up your cup of coffee.
No. You see, now you're talking about a theater.
And come on in and talk to God, and just go, "Hey God, here I am again. How's it going, dude?" I mean, it's bad, and to me,
that
the
sounds
church just
very
walked
much
away.
like sacrilege to me.
It's terrible.
I'm sorry.
It's terrible.
I don't.
And the young people, they did it in a sense that they wanted to keep the young people. Let's have a hip band with some music. Well, the kids don't like that music. It's contemporary, Christian adult contemporary kind of stuff. They don't care for that. And so it's not happening. And what you've got is a situation where your religion is part of your life. A small part. Sunday morning or Saturday night, whatever's convenient for you, you slip into church for a 45-minute quickie, put a few bucks in no, you don't even have to put money in the offering plate anymore. You do electronically. And
what do you mean? When they pass the plate, the people write their checks or put their money in it, right?
I don't do that anymore. You just scan your card and
scan your card. Oh man! All right. Well, with the advent of the virus and so on, do they have like the awning out over the side of the church, and then a drive-up window, and then you can just confess your sins? And they have an express line, 5 cents or less.
I would doubt that for a second. Somewhere in this universe, there's something like that going on. I have not seen it, and I would not participate in that. That's there's no reverence. You come as you are. It basically kind of showing up on a Sunday morning, getting ready to go out on the boat. So you almost are showing up in your swim trunks and your t-shirt and flip-flops and a beach ball. And you put in you really don't carry the beach ball. I mean, that's the kind of scenario. And then you're just going out as soon as it's over, and you go back to your life. And this is just a little slice. We do this little homage to God. And that's why you talk about changing Islam. I mean, to begin with, it's from Allah. We don't have that. He's not asking us for our opinion. And, the way we commit, the reverence, that was so attractive to me right at the get-go, the reverence and the worship, and doing wudu, cleaning up, dressing well, worshiping Almighty God. You're not coming in to hobnob with a celebrity, but where it's changed is where you got Christianity because they believe Jesus is God, and so Jesus is not. He's not the kind of God. He's kind of the good, friendly guy. So he's like my friend. Jesus is my friend, and so we just get along and talk, and it's it's just God is Almighty, the Most High. He's not my buddy.
Well, now that you're talking about this topic, about the churches and all, I've heard that recently, in the last, I say recent, in the last 30 years, the last time I went to church was about 2 weeks before I accepted Islam.
Yeah.
It wasn't even 2 weeks. It was probably 10 days, because I missed that Sunday service, and then the next day after that, Monday, then Tuesday, I accepted Islam. So, yeah. The last time I went to church, they did have a band in there, some guys playing guitar and a drum, and it was a church I visited, and I was thinking, oh my God, what is it coming to now? But now, and I remember the preacher was talking about, David. David and the son of Solomon, and the father of Solomon, yeah. And he was talking about David and so, and he was talking about Palestine. But I've heard recently that no longer do the churches call it Palestine, they call it Israel. Is that true?
I'm not in connection with that. Haven't heard lately, but I would sure think they wouldn't recognize. They would be 100% supporting Israel having the entire property, and Palestine being. They can leave.
Well, you mentioned the Scofield Bible, so going through it, I found a lot of the things that were not in the older Bibles. In the Bible that was printed in 1905, did not have. There's a real old Bible that has a map, and it shows Palestine right on the map. It doesn't say anything about Israel at all, but it does mention Judea, because that's the place of the tribe of Judah. Is that right? The tribe of Israel?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, now the Quran speaks about the children of Israel. It does say Beni Israel. But when it comes to the Al-Quds, the sacred place, that in the Bible, my Bible, said Philistine. But today they say that the Bibles are saying the latest version has Israel in there. Is that true? I didn't know that.
I don't know that. I don't know that either. I'm doing a lot of study now, but I'm using my King James. I haven't looked at a modern translation in quite some time.
Let me show you something. I'm gonna take a chance to show you guys something here in a minute. This I've got to get it down small enough that you guys will be able to see it. But there's a preacher who also came up with this Bible, and he pulled it out and he showed it in a video. And he said Jesus was a Palestinian. And I did a double take on that, because I don't know. What do you think about that? Jesus is a Palestinian.
He was born in Bethlehem. He was a Nazarene. He was called out of Egypt. No, he wasn't a Palestinian.
No?
No.
Well, he lived in Philistine.
I've never seen that terminology in the Bible. Well,
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that.
Well,
I can't remember him. Philistine?
let me see if I can find that map.
See if you can find that. Yeah.
Here is the map, and the map that's in that Bible that he was showing up there. I put it up there. It's kind of big. It said Palestine. Let me see if I can see that. Well, there. I can move it up a little bit. Palestine, Holy Land. That's what it said. Al-Quds. That's translated into Arabic as Al-Quds. Let me see if I can bring this up where everybody can see it a little bit better.
It says Palestine and the Holy Land.
Yeah, Palestine and the Holy Land. There it is.
So to make it, and the map is hard to.
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting the way he presented it, because maybe we should put that video out there on social media and let the brothers and sisters comment on that, because they were saying that it was never called Israel until these folks in 1913. He was saying that was the time whenever things started changing and the evangelical movement developed up, and he was going on and on about that. And I wanted to have your opinion on it, if you knew about anything like this.
Never heard of that. I've never heard of that. I mean, I don't
the rapture, the last days, and all of the things.
No, I don't remember ever seeing Jesus call it Philistine.
Well, I don't think you were born before 1950 or something like that, 40. When were you born? 19 what?
47.
1947?
Yeah.
All right, well,
I didn't even start going to church
until 40 years later after that Bible came
yeah.
out, so probably you didn't even see it. You said the Scofield Bible, he said Scofield was a crook.
I've heard he's a little scandalous, but
yeah, actually, they listed some of the crimes that he was expelled out of the Kansas legislature for, that he was on the take and so on, and then he came back as with no education whatsoever in religion, but he's going to write his own Bible. Is that right?
Yeah, I think maybe Joseph Smith did the same thing.
Who?
Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith? No, Joseph Smith claimed to be a prophet.
An education or his
Come
own.
on, man.
But I mean, no, back in, when was the Scofield Bible? When was the first?
The first one was 1909. The very first one was 1909. Then 1913 was when they updated it and got it a lot better. And then 1917 was another edition of it. And I know that because I have a Scofield Bible, and I looked up. And,
1909, yeah.
Yep.
But
we're looking at the top of your head again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's got some consulting, editors and stuff that are all part of that, but I don't know what the situation was.
That's what the whole thing was about, that this was a guy that they could influence to get him to write up the stuff that they wanted to get out, and that's where the whole business came from. But I'm just asking you because I don't know. I never heard about this before.
I've heard a little bit. I have not looked into it much. I mean, this was the book. This was the inerrant. And Scofield, we didn't have Google. I didn't look up Scofield. So, but I've heard since then he had a few misgivings of things. But
well, not just misgivings. They kicked him out of the. He had been appointed by the government of Kansas, and then he got caught dealing in several times dealing in underhanded things, and then they kicked him out, and he left, and then he came back as a preacher, but with no training whatsoever. But I think the clever little remarks he was making was being fed to him by the people that you were talking about. Is that true?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, again, it was. I mean, the Scofield Bible and evangelical Christianity is so universally accepted. So whatever has been going on, they've overlooked all that and just.
Well, you just mentioned the evangelical, and that, according to the gentleman who was talking, it seems like he's a preacher somewhere, but in the video, he was saying that the evangelical movement began at that time, at the time of Scofield, and that was his Bible, the so-called inerrant Word of God, and he made all these references. I liked it because it said the very first note in it,
Right.
on the very first word in it that he describes is the word God, and he said this was Allah.
Yes.
That's what he said, and yeah. So.
But nobody looks at that as notes. I've had a Scofield Bible since I was 12 years old. So do the math. And I had never, until you pointed it out to me, I had never read that note in Genesis 1. Ever. And we just didn't do that. And I didn't pay attention to it. I didn't make the connection. So.
Well, don't feel bad, because let me tell you, the first time I had the courage to go up to a Baptist preacher, because I'd been having experiences from time to time with all of the different denominations. Even when I was a child, we went to different churches. We would walk to different churches to just check it out and see. But I kept coming back to the one that was called the Christian Church. Later it became Disciples of Christ and Church of Christ. But anyway, that's irrelevant. So the thing that I noticed about the Baptists was that they were kind of strict on it one area, but not too strict on some other areas. And the Methodists, I like the Methodists because they had everything. They had a party night for kids on Saturday night. You could go there and hang out and drink Coca-Cola and have fun and dance. But the Baptists, they said, no dancing. No.
Not for Allah. We did not dance. Ooh.
Before we get too far into the subject, we would need to take a break.
Oh, Sister Kim, we left you out of this whole thing. We've been having a good time. Okay, all right. We're gonna go back with something right now. By the way, Guide Us TV, watched by many, loved by all. New Muslims, young Muslims, born Muslims, non-Muslims, all enjoy it. Guide Us TV, never ads, always free. Let's keep it free. No ads. Support and share. And get guided with Guide Us TV. Okay, we are back. And the idea behind what we were talking about today is about change. And if people change their from one religion to another, this is one issue. That's one issue. But when people are changing their religion from within, that's a whole different story. Because if God reveals a religion and then you feel like you need to change it, what does that tell you? It's one of two things, really, as far as I know. But the first thing is that you were not practicing the religion correctly, all right? Or maybe your God didn't know what was coming, so you had to change the religion for him. So if this is the case, then you got to ask yourself what's going on with that. Richard, want to comment on that?
I've seen so much change over the decades from within Christianity to, what they said they believed, what they said the Bible said, and there's just a constant amendment, basically thrown into the bucket of that was then, this is now. And, you just gloss over some of the things that are disagreeable. Maybe one that says the women should be quiet in church and should not teach men. And you have other things where women should cover their heads. The man is the head of the house. And it just kind of changed all that around.
All right. I think it's time for us to bring Sister Kim on this.
Yes.
Sister Kim, I know you didn't spend a lot of time at churches because you were a different, not a different denomination, a totally different religion. But do you recall anything about the churches or seeing any changes in the churches, etc.?
I wasn't really involved in church long enough to see any change. I didn't go to church after I was like 7 years old. So, the only time I ever set foot in a church after that was if I had to go to a wedding. And so I never really encountered a lot of change. The denomination I did go to was the First Protestant Church. And when I was very little, I was a baby, so I don't even remember it. The Reverend retired, and then we got a new Reverend who was younger and hipper and did great with the children. And
you said hipper, so he was cool, man, right?
He was cool. And a lot of the older people, from what I understand, didn't like him very much. And some people left the church over it, but not a lot. And a lot of people ended up really liking him after they got used to the change. But to the best of my knowledge, he didn't ever contradict anything that the Reverend before him had done. He just presented it in a new way that was less formal and more informal. But yeah, I really can't speak on it because, like I said, I was like 7 when I stopped going to church. And even before then, the only time I went to church was when I was staying over my grandmother's house. So it wasn't a constant thing.
All right. Well, Sister, we're talking about the changes. So have you heard about people changing things in the Christian church? Have you outside of our program?
I have definitely heard about it. And one of the things that comes to mind, I'm not sure if you've ever seen it. Have you seen the movie Sister Act?
Say it again.
The movie Sister Act from the 90s.
Sister Act?
I have. 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Okay, so there was 2 different. Richard, what is Sister Act? Tell us about it. You saw 1 and 2. You must be the expert on it.
It's a funny movie with Whoopi Goldberg as they put her in a protection program because she's a key witness for a murder, and they hide her in a convent in a church, and then she goes about doing the very same thing we're talking about. She just wanted to rearrange everything, and quite to the consternation of the head nun, the Mother Superior, whatever they called that, and but it all turns out happy in the end. Everybody's good friends, and they all like the changes, but. It was all it was based around the music that they went from, the traditional choir anthem kind of things to takeoffs on contemporary rock and roll songs to make them sound like they were thinking about God. They had a song like
I Will Follow Him.
I Will Follow Him. Yes. Follow Him wherever He may go. And they would be going, and they would, nothing you can say can ever take away from my God. I mean, it was all kind of, instead of my guy, they made it my God. You know, you can't take me. I mean, they made all kind of little slight changes to make it fit in church. And the kids started showing up, and the crowd, and the church was about to die, but the church was restored because everybody came back and loved it. And in the end, even the Pope came to visit, and he gave the choir a standing ovation, which is the way the movie ends. And then number 2 goes on, does something similar in a different convent.
But yeah, the movie is all about changes in the church, and
yes, yeah.
They present it in a very positive way. You know, like, you know, make these changes and everybody will be happy. And that's what I think about when I think about changes to Christianity. And
yeah, we want something snappy.
The only church that I have been in a long time, which I don't know if it counts as a church so much as a chapel, is the Salvation Army.
The Salvation Army. Okay.
That's a church. Yeah.
You walk in there, and they've got guitars, and they've got a band, a drum set, and everything like that for their services. And it's obvious that they play rock music. And you know, I never attended one of their services, but
Like
the first time I walked in there, I was just shocked. I'm like, you know, oh, I've heard of churches that do this, but I didn't know they did it. But evidently they do.
Well, Richard, what do you think about that?
That's a spin-off of the Methodist Church. That's, the Wesleyanism things. And it's the Salvation Army, they've been in music forever. I mean, they have bands that march in the Rose Parade every year. That's kind of their thing. The sidewalk band, collecting money and all that kind of thing. That's been their MO for a long, long, long time. So that nothing there would be surprising. I'm more surprised that the mainline churches have gravitated to spiffier. Let's put a little spiffier pizzazz into our church, so everybody will like it. It's like, well, God needs some help, so we got to make him better.
What I'm trying to get at, and I'm asking, I'll just ask it direct. What is it that is causing the church leaders to make these changes?
The young people are leaving. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Last one out the door. Turn off the lights. I mean, the churches are shrinking. They're not growing, and
wait. Now. So what you're saying to me is now that the churches were losing some of their folks. Is that the problem? Like the kids are not showing up, or what?
Yeah, the kids aren't showing up. The Southern Baptist Church, which is not as big as you get in the Protestant world, their own studies, not anybody else's outside, their own studies say somewhere around 70-80% of their young people leave the church within a year or two after graduating from high school, and not coming back. So they're looking at it going, what are we going to do? Everything's closing up. Most churches, and everybody thinks churches, these big mega churches, but like 90% of the churches in America are 100 people or less. And it doesn't take a whole lot of people to start shutting doors, and the church goes up for sale, and Islam buys them.
And a Muslim buys it, right?
And
then they curse us for it.
But it's funny. I was a Christian professor. I taught at a Christian school, Christian college, and that college is now a masjid, which I just think is amazing. The entire college went bankrupt, and a Muslim community came in and renovated, and I couldn't wait when they opened up to go there and pray. Just it was but yeah, even like that. And lots of churches make nice messages. The building's built. It's got to fit the carpet in the right direction, and you're all set to go.
All right. Well, on another note, I think that we could compare in another program maybe the population of Muslims in the world. This is growing, whereas the so-called leadership of the Christian #1 in the world. But if you check out the churches on Sunday morning, I think you're going to find that it's declining instead of increasing. And I think also that you're going to find that the Muslim masajid are increasing even here in America, that there are more and more and more and more. Just like you just said, the university that you went to is now a masjid. So I don't know why they keep saying that Christianity is #1 in the world, because it's really not. As far as the numbers that I see right now for 2021, the numbers don't add up to be the populace is really in favor of Christianity. Because if 1 in 4, and this was something that was said at the time of Clinton being the president of the United States. Madeleine Albright was the one who said it. She said 1 in 4 people on the earth are Muslims. Yes. So if it's increased, and this has been said exponentially that it's increased, 3% a year, 3% a year. Now, if you say 10 years, and that's been, that's been 20 years, hadn't it? So if you said 3%, 3%, 3%, 3%, up to 20 years, hello, that's a lot of percentage. And so if it was 1 in 4, and they're saying right now that Christians are almost 1 in 4, and that's counting everybody who claims to be a Christian. Never mind, they don't even have a Bible anymore. They don't go to church anymore. They just say Jesus died for my sins, and that's it. And we got Muslims praying 5 times a day that used to be Christians, Christian pastors like yourself, like me, like so many of us. So
my hometown in Cumberland, Maryland, up in the far hills, very rural community, blue collar. There's a masjid in my town.
I know that because I've been there.
There's only about 20,000 people in that whole community.
Yeah, Cumberland, Maryland. They invited me to come up there one time.
Yeah. If they invite you back, call me. I'll go. I'll meet you there.
Well, I didn't get to go on that occasion, but
yes.
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
So, and now we're just talking about the United States. Now, the United States really is not a heavily populated country. It really is not. We say we have 300 million people, and I kind of look at that with a question mark, but that's all right. Considering the space that we have, counting Alaska and Hawaii and all of the states, we've got plenty of room. But now if you take a place like Bangladesh, where they have millions and millions and millions of people, I think it was like 193 million people or something like that, millions of people in one little area. And when you say that these people are 90% Muslim, oh, wait a minute. That's a strong number. That's a very strong number, because when you look at India and they're saying 25% of India is Muslims, but then they turn around and they want to count the whole entire country of India as Hindu when they're doing their population thing. So I think that's where they're kind of getting off. I would like to see a recent update, and when I looked through yesterday through the internet, and the only real authority of the Pew experts on doing the population.
Yeah.
That was like 13 or 15 years ago.
Hmm.
Yeah, and even then it was saying that Islam was a close number, but they were still in the lead, and they're still using those numbers. And that's not our subject for tonight. Let's talk about the changes, and we'll talk about the population thing another time. By the way, folks, if you'd like to call in, you can call in 1-800-971-4383. We still got time for another call. Yeah, but not much. Go ahead.
I'd like to ask him, as a new Muslim yourself, I mean, what changes would you make?
What I make? I don't think I'd change anything. You know, the more I learn about Islam, the more I realize that it really is laying out the best life that we can have. Now, there is a problem with people who misinterpret things. You know, there are people in Islam who think it's okay to strike your wife heavily. There are people in Islam who think women should be silent and should never talk. And there are people who think all sorts of things based off of what they've read in the Quran and what they've heard. And some of it's cultural. But I don't think it's so much a matter of Islam should change as if you have a problem with something in Islam, you should research it more. And, you know, don't let one person tell you what to think. See what many people are saying and talk about it, and talk about whether or not that is what was intended when it was taught. And I think if people do that, they'll realize that, no, it's not Islam that needs to change. It's us that have to change our mentality to accept the word of God. But in order to do that, you have to understand it. And so I always urge everybody, seek as much knowledge as you can. You know, because in seeking knowledge, that's where you're going to get your answers. You're not going to get your answers by throwing up your hands and saying, oh, I don't like this, and walking away. And so, like I said, I don't think people need to change. I think they just need to learn more.
All right. Sounds good to me. Actually, you know what? I want to come back to our original thing that we talked about, because whenever we say that Jesus was a Palestinian, I think that's kind of harsh, because actually, according to Islam, he's from the line of Israel or Jacob, so he is definitely from the tribe of probably of Judah, I think. But the point is that the folks are saying Palestine, but not Israel. That was never on the maps at that time. But now the new maps that are in the Bibles, if they have a map at all, I don't think they have that much anymore, but the new maps that we see, even in the news, it shows Israel. And what's going on with that? And that's really what I want to talk about tonight, but I guess we run out of time. What do you think? What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, America is solidly behind Israel, and it's you know, the carnage going on in Palestine, doesn't even get attention. It's our country.
We have a phone call.
Yep. I guess that we ran out of time, guys, so maybe we can pick this up tomorrow night, and folks could call in. If you don't like the topic we're talking about, call in and change it to something else. But I'd like to explore this a little bit more and find out just exactly how these changes are all coming about and why. So let's make some dua and ask Allah to guide all of us. And until tomorrow night, everybody stay tuned and stay guided with
Guidance TV.
yeah. Yusuf Estes, and I'm looking for something. Actually, I'm looking for someone. Is that someone you? I want Dawah partners, and you can be my Dawah partner right now. It's real easy. Just go to dawahpartners.com, sign up, and join me. There are 3 things that I would like for you to be able to do. Any one of them or all of them. Beautiful. Number 1, you will make dua. So you can be our Dawah partner, even if you don't go to the website, but I hope you do. Number 2, share. Share this message and let other people know about becoming Dawah partners. And number 3, help us financially. Donate on a monthly basis, even if it's small. Allah loves the thing that you do regularly, even if it's small, more than the thing that you do that's really big, but you only do it once. Join me as a Dawah partner. Do it now. Click, 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 click.
Ooh.